By the way, we get a cut, right?
Sure.
I'd say tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands, yes.
Let's see, anything over 1 million.
All right. Okay. This one, you know, this thing might go viral because you guys are so funny.
After this, we're gonna sing the Lapo Hoi Hois.
Hi everyone. So today we have a very special video for all of you. So this is Grandma, and this is all of Grandma's children, and they all grew up in Lapo Hoi Hoi on the Big Island, and during their time there, they've experienced making a lot of plantation food with my grandpa, and just eating it and enjoying it through their time growing up. So for today, each of them have decided to make a dish and to share that with you. So we'll go from oldest to youngest. So my mom, Gail is the oldest sibling in the family, and then Warren.
2 years younger.
Warren.
One, huh?
And then Owen.
3 years younger.
And then Benjie.
10 years younger.
Oh, so Gail and Benjie are 10 years apart. And so Grandma, how do you feel about
that information?
How do you feel about having all your children here?
Oh, I'm happy.
Yes. So today, Grandma, they're gonna cook for you food from when you guys were young, when they were young.
Okay.
Can you help them today?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we are looking forward to that. I appreciate just being able to learn all of these dishes, because if not, I think they would go lost if we don't record them. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoy.
Okay, well, this morning I'm making corned beef hash with eggs, and this is how Grandpa used to make it. He actually used canned corned beef, but I'm making real corned beef with potatoes. Okay. It's going to be awesome. These are the leftover potatoes from our St. Patrick's Day dinner from last night. And so all I'm doing is just chopping them up. Okay, so I'm putting in a pound of the fresh corned beef, and then I am putting in about 3 cups of potatoes. And this is just because that's all the potatoes I have left. I think if I had 4 cups, I would use 4 cups, whatever. So it's just a dish there's no set ingredients. And this is the leftover onions. It looks like it might be about a cup. And so I'm just going to mix it. And I know from last night that the corned beef is really quite salty in itself, so I am not going to add any more salt to this dish as it is. Okay, maybe I'll add some pepper, but that's it. And actually, this dish, Grandma and Grandpa used to make it actually, and he would actually use canned corned beef hash. And but since I had this corned beef, I thought, well, we can still have the spirit of the dish and use real corned beef and still, show what we had for breakfast. Do you guys remember having fresh corned beef? Not you. I was surprised. I thought corned beef always came in a can.
Yeah. I assumed corned beef came in a can.
We never knew that corned beef was something you could boil and yes, it was a breakfast dish. And it was just special because we have the corned beef and the corned beef hash, and then Grandpa would put eggs on it, and then he would bake it, and then we would all have our little corned beef thing with the egg on top. Because normally breakfast was, do you guys remember what was breakfast? And Mom would be working. I don't think Benjie was even there yet, and then we would have oatmeal. Remember? Oatmeal. The oatmeal was cold. Right? It was always cold, but it was in the bowl. Yeah. And then we put sugar and milk. It was always very delicious.
It was.
It was cool. I remember. Oh, it's cold.
It wasn't my favorite.
After my mom mixed all the ingredients together, she sprayed a glass pan with oil and put all of the corned beef hash into the glass pan and patted it down nicely.
I'm going to make 8 eggs, so I'm
just turn this on.
making 8 portions. I'm just so I know where the eggs are going to go.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's how Grandpa did it. Okay, I'm going to stick this in the oven, and it's not at 400, but I think that's okay. It's just too warm.
Every time we went to the Big Island, after Gil and I were, married, and every time. I just was so fascinated by the way Grandpa would cook. He was so much, he was so meticulous about how he prepared his meals, and I guess over all those years, Gail has really become a good cook. She learned a lot from Grandpa.
After the warm corned beef hash came out of the oven, she cracked an egg in all of the depressions that she made. She put the corned beef hash back in the oven for 5 minutes at 400 degrees.
All right, so this morning I am making a classic plantation dish called Spam with green beans and carrots and onions. So when we talked about this video, that's why we had all these different ideas, but I just thought we gotta have Spam. That's gotta be one of the dishes that we make. So hey, that's my dish. Spam is just associated with plantation life because we'd bring it for lunch, eat it for dinner, eat it for breakfast, you know. If you look at the beans, this is from the local supermarket, but you can see the brown spots on them. But when my dad used to grow beans, Owen, they were like green, like they didn't have the brown spots on it. They were like the best beans. You couldn't even buy that type of beans in the store. I think so good. Yeah, really soft too.
So every day he would check his beans, you know, water the plant and check the beans and pick the ones that were ready and let the other ones grow. So yeah, I remember him going to the market with me, Times Supermarket, and he looked at the beans, he said, and he laughed. He said, you buy these beans? I said, yeah. Because that's what we have. That's what we have.
One of my fond memories is actually putting my hands in that deep, soft soil, because he would till the soil with a hoe and it would be soft and cool, and that was kind of fun to play with, you know. But I'm sure it wasn't much help to grow the vegetables. We would help, but you know, he could probably do it faster by himself, but he let us play, yeah.
Grandma is helping Benjie cut the beans, carrots, onions, and Spam long ways. Growing up, my mom would also prepare Spam and beans, sometimes with carrots for me and for the rest of my family, so this dish definitely brings back memories. And it's really nice to see Grandma helping out here, because although she doesn't remember as much these days, this activity of just getting together, staying with her family and cutting and socializing, I believe really keeps her young.
So the consensus seems to be Spam first, so even though I would normally start with the vegetables first. Okay, well, let's go for it.
Why is Spam so popular?
I think from what I remember reading or hearing was that everybody was poor, and so Spam was cheap. All the plantation somehow picked up on it.
Onion.
And then which one, the chicken or the egg? What came first?
Some more? Okay. All right.
But the onions get translucent and they kind of disappear.
That's true.
Yeah, you want more vegetable, because it was always more vegetable than Spam.
That's true.
It's true, there was more vegetable than Spam.
Basically, this is the easiest dish ever. Spam, chop some onions, chop some carrots, chop some string beans, and then I never did green onions, but Mom said to put in green onions, so I'm just putting in green onions too. And that's kind of it, you know. I mean, I can maybe put some, I think, shoyu on top after.
Fry all together for about 5 to 10 minutes so the vegetables don't get too soft, and add shoyu to your liking.
What do you think?
Nice and cool.
Okay, it's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
Grandma said good.
Yeah, Spam was a big part of our life, but once in a while we had stuff like actual beef, you know? And so once in a while, Dad would make beef tomato. And when he first started learning how to cook, he didn't quite know how to do it. So he had to ask Grandma. And Grandma would be working in the barber shop across the street from our house. So he would go out from the kitchen to the porch and yell, "Mom, how you do this or do that?" And then he'd go back and make the dish. So I'm going to attempt to recreate some of what he did. I'm sure I can't do it like he did and make it taste as good, but we'll try making beef tomato today. This is beef, that's sukiyaki beef, or you could use, for example, a New York cut, or you could use sirloin and cut it into thin strips, maybe about 1 inch and a 1/4 inch wide. And garlic. We're going to start with the beef and the garlic in the oil, fry it. And when the beef is just about done, we're going to add the onions and then the celery. And just as everything's done, we'll add in the green peppers, the green onions, and the tomatoes. And then we're done. What we have is a pan that's being heated with oil in it. And this meat, which is sort of like sukiyaki style meat, or basically steak that's cut up into thin strips, and we're going to fry it along with some garlic. So okay, it looks just about ready for the garlic. I'm going to heat up the garlic a little bit and give it a little stir. We're going to add the meat, and as the meat gets cooked, we might take out the meat, put in the onion, and then all the rest of the veggies. We'll add the meat back, mix it up, and put in the tomatoes and the bell peppers. I just remember that it was one of Dad's favorites, I think. So if we went to a Chinese restaurant, for example, then oftentimes we would have sweet tomato also. So they did a lot of cooking, you know. I also remember when we would work in the cane fields. They would get up early in the morning to cook. They would make our lunch, put it in the bento pails, and we would bring it to work in the fields. We worked summer times to help pay our way through college. And back then you could work summer jobs and pay your way through college pretty much, and very little in loans.
I never worked in the cane fields
And
either.
when they would make this dish, it would be in a smaller pan actually, like maybe the pan might be more like this size, you know. And so Dad's typical way of doing the meals at dinner time was that everybody would get to take their share. You know, there was one pot of food, you had your rice, and everybody would take the food, and after we're all done, and you know, he would ask everybody, "Oh, you had enough to eat? You had enough to eat? Everybody had enough to eat?" If there's leftover in the pan, then he would eat the rest. He would wait to make sure everybody had enough, and then he would eat the rest. This meat has been soaked in a little bit of cornstarch, ginger, ground ginger, fresh ginger, and shoyu, and a little bit of mirin. Dad would like to use whiskey to soften the meat, but I just use a little bit of sake. I use a little bit of sake. And we'll cook the onions a little bit. Oh yes, and we could add, Dad liked to put in a little shoyu.
In every dish.
So, yeah, shoyu, he'd add a little bit of shoyu, and he worked in the sugar mill, so, you know, he liked to have sugar in a lot of stuff. Had to be CNH sugar because it's California, Hawaii, and of course, his company sold it to CNH for refining, and so
He was brand loyal.
Yeah.
if somebody told him that too much sugar is bad for you, he would say, sugar, how can? I had so much sugar. So we cook the onions a little bit, and then we'll add the celery. Okay, that'll do, I think. It's a little sweet because he liked to make his dishes sweet. And so this looks like it's cooked just about enough. And we'll put the meat back in. You know, one of our favorites was when he would plant soybeans. So, because soybeans, you know, when you harvest them and then you cook them and eat them right away. Oh, it tastes so good.
I remember at night is we'd have this big colander, but Grandma, they would make, it would be full of soybeans and we would eat it at night and watching TV, and it was the best snack. And we ate it all. So that was really
So that was their soybeans from the garden?
I don't know, maybe. Not sure, probably.
And I'm sure, you know, when Grandpa made it, he made it taste with more taste in it. But this is probably a little bit different from when he made, and he's probably tasted better. But this will have to do. Okay. One more touch that I forgot to add, and Dad would like to add in a little bit of ketchup also. Okay. So because this is tomato after all. So this was his touch, adding ketchup, and that's probably what is missing.
The reason why I wanted to make this video was because I thought it would be a nice way to honor Grandma. You know, as Grandma is not getting any younger, and I think it's great for us to just continue to spend time with her. And I think food is a way that we can continue to connect with each other. And also, what is better for Grandma than bringing all her children, you know, under one roof and being able to cook different dishes, things that they ate when they were younger. And so I thought this would just be a nice memory to have for Grandma and for the rest of them. Here, film them. They're all in the kitchen together.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, good idea.
We're not intimidated by the camera. Except when he points at us.
Did you put on your blush this morning? Did you put on your blush?
No, I thought we would have a makeup session when we got here. Okay, today I'm going to make sweet sour spare ribs because it's one of my favorite dishes, and because when I used to go to the Big Island to work about once a month, I would tell them I'm coming and I'm going to stay for dinner, and then Mom would always ask me, well, what do you want for dinner? I say sweet sour spare ribs, and she would make sweet sour spare ribs for me. So always been my favorite, and it's not really health food. It's country food.
Definitely.
Very good. This spare ribs is already pre-cut, so but I'm cutting in between.
Where'd you get that from?
These are from Times Supermarket. The nice thing about Times is that it is already pre-cut. If I can find the receipt. So they already made the ribs shorter, and you just got to go cut in between the ribs to get the right size.
But when you grew up, where did your parents get the spare ribs from?
I think they pretty much almost always. Well, I think they could go to KTA in town. There was a local store. You know, you remember went to Papaloa Community Store. So there was, which was a little more expensive, but there was a Papaloa Community Store. We bought a lot of supplies there. So the thing about, I think my dad's spare ribs were, they were sweet because he had a sweet tooth, tangy because of the vinegar,
Can you wash the beans?
and brown and kind of dark colored because it would use some soy sauce.
Like caramelize it?
Yeah, so they would brown it first, and then brown it, and then when they cooked it, use vinegar, soy sauce, and brown sugar. Since we're kind of doing it the way that Mom and Dad used to do it, they used to put flour and shoyu and mix it up with their hand. You gotta mix it up with your hand. You can't use a spoon. And then I would say about maybe a third of a cup of shoyu and about a half a cup of flour. Okay, so you can't mix it with a spoon. You gotta mix it with your hand here. Yes, until you get a kind of a brown slurry. I would ask my mom, but she can't remember that much right now. So. Okay, now it's ready to put in the pan. So sometimes you make it in the same pot, but because we're gonna be a little bit in a hurry, I'm gonna start this boiling, which is I put a cup and a half of water, 1 cup of vinegar, And then I'm gonna put in about 1.5 cups of brown sugar. As I finish browning it here, then we just dump it out in there. That'll make it a little faster. I put the water, the vinegar, and then I'm gonna put brown sugar in here. I'm gonna put 1.5 cups. Actually, one of the recipes I got says 2, but I thought it was a little too sweet. So I'm gonna put 1.5 cups of brown sugar, which is, that's a lot of brown sugar. But again, we're trying to recreate the taste. So 1.5 cups of brown sugar. A little short here, but that's okay. Go down. So as this gets done, I'll turn this fire on, and then I'll start boiling it in here. Yeah, I'm gonna put 1/3 cup of sugar. I'll show you in here. And then when you're not looking, I'm gonna put just a few pieces of ginger and 3 or 4 garlic. Just crush it and toss it in. We're gonna cook it for about an hour and a half to soften the ribs. So it'll be completely cooked, even if it's not entirely brown. Because I'm getting hungry. 3 cloves of garlic. Oh, nicely peeled. So just a couple of pieces, and the thing about that is when everything gets dark, you gotta make sure you don't actually bite that ginger.
Probably the best cook out of the 4 of you.
Well, probably Gail, because she does the most cooking, probably. Plus, she's learned a lot, because when she left the house, she probably knew nothing. So she's made a lot of progress since from not really knowing how to pick up after herself to taking care of a house and cooking. Yeah, a lot of gain of knowledge there.
After browning the spare ribs, Uncle Warren suggests to boil them for about an hour to an hour and a half to make them as soft as possible.
I just sliced carrots and daikon. So that'll maybe, since we're gonna eat not too long from maybe half an hour or so before it's finished. Ordinarily, I would cook this for a little longer, maybe an hour, at least an hour. It hasn't been an hour yet. But ordinarily, I'd cook it for an hour, and then maybe the last half hour, put this stuff in here. That way it'll cook. Okay. After I put in the carrots and daikon and cooked it for a while, I then mix about 3 tablespoons of cornstarch with a little bit of water and put it in there and mix it around to thicken the sauce a little bit. And then some people, after all that, you can get a small can of pineapple, chop it up, and put pineapple chunks in there. I was too lazy to do it today. Optional. Good, very good. Sweet, tangy, vinegary. And I think I'm supposed to add a tablespoon of salt. Reid brought us beer from Hilo, brewed in Hilo Brewing Company, Mauna Kea Pale Ale. So, which you don't find in every grocery store. So thanks, Reid. Cheers. Cheers.
I'm gonna try Auntie Gail's corned beef hash with eggs, and I added a little bit of ketchup because I like ketchup.
We have to have ketchup with it.
Tasty. Real corned beef, not canned corned beef. You can taste the difference.
Yeah.
This has to be better than what we ate as kids, but it's still nice to have the memories of what we ate as kids.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna try Uncle Owen's beef tomato. And this is also, again, like he said, a lot of memories from this growing up. That's pretty good. It's like I remember it. Very good.
Oh,
Yeah, very good.
must be the ketchup.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm gonna try Uncle Ben's spam and beans. Look at the color of the spam and beans. So you know it's cooked well because it's soft, but it's not overcooked.
That's right.
Just like the old days, because I don't think spam has changed in 40 years, 50 years. But thank you.
And right now I'm eating the corned beef hash that Gil made and the egg on top. It's the first time I've seen it cook like that. Her cracking the egg on the corned beef hash and then putting it all in the oven. So there were 8 eggs all at once. And that's just really awesome. So that's what I'm eating now. It's really great.
So I'm trying the spare ribs. And it, you know what? It seems really soft, actually, Warren. Here. Very soft. Good. Very good. Good job.
Oh, thank you.
Excellent.
Oh, thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
That's very
Good idea.
Yeah,
Good job.
it's really good. It's very soft. Really good.
Everything is good.
Do you guys feel like you're back in the plantation?
Well, we would only have one.
Yeah, we only have one of these. this year.
Right, we wouldn't have all of them.
We'd all be fighting over one can of spam.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe.
The ambiance is a little different. We had the small kitchen table, and we all be around a small table with the what kind of chairs were there? The chairs and the table.
The metal legs.
This is quite elegant compared to
We have air conditioning too there.
Good.
What are you eating?
I ate now.
Eggs. Our cameraman here. What are you trying?
Everything, a little bit of everything. It's good. Spam.
Oh, real corned beef hash is good.
And I adopt this for my own recipes. It's good.
So what did you learn, Reid? Because you like to cook.
Reid is an excellent cook.
What did I learn? To appreciate where these dishes came from as a part of everybody's culture growing up. And I'm wondering when we do this in 20, 30 years, what are we going to be making? Because we didn't have plantation style food. So it's going to be like, well, Kathy, you better bring the filet.
You learned about whiskey.
Oh yeah, that's right. I learned about whiskey. I didn't know you could use whiskey to soften meat.
Right? Isn't that a better use than imbibing it?
Hi everyone, I just wanted to jump on here and say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed watching my uncles and my mom cook together with grandma, sharing some of their plantation style cooking from when they were younger. If you want to see more of them, please let me know. I would love to invite them back and have them do more dishes for all of you. Other than that, please like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Thanks, bye.